Hello and welcome back to my channel, Trofania. My name is Naya Jelly and I am a medical herbalist. Today we're going to discuss the herbs that you can use to deal with stress. This is part 3 of the video, so if you want to go and view what stress can do to the body and also what lifestyle things you can do to deal with stress, please visit the previous videos because this one we're going to be talking about only the herbs. Okay, so the first set of herbs are some of my favorites. So the first set of herbs are some of my favorites and they're called adaptogens because what they do is they help the body adapt to stress. Now, what do I mean by that? By adapting, it could help you it could increase your capacity to deal with stresses, to deal with stressful situations, to deal with the chemical effects of stress. It can help build your resilience to that, but also it can help delay the onset of exhaustion or even prevent it altogether. So these bodies help give you the vim to deal with the stressful situation. So I often like to use it in cases where it is not immediately easy to get rid of the stress. So I need to help build my capacity. Now, there are a range of herbs that fall within the spectrum of adaptogens, and I'm going to mention 3. So the first one that I'm going to mention is a herb called ashwagandha, or in Latin, Withania somnifera. And what that basically is a very, I like it because it's a calming adaptogen. You know, there's adaptogens are on ranges. You can have ones that are very calming, but helps you build that resilience, and ones that are more stimulating. This is on the lower end of the spectrum, but it's also anti-anemic. And because it's very calming, if your stress comes out and you're not able to sleep, you're tired, but you're wired, this is also a great herb for something like that. Now, there's another one, and I'm doing this because it's basically called Siberian Ginseng. So the Latin name is Eleutherococcus sancticosus. But basically it's Siberian ginseng, and this is another adaptogen. It's a mild stimulating adaptogen, and again it helps with build resilience, but it's also been traditionally used to help in terms of colds and flus. So it also stimulates the immune system. So if your stress comes out in, you know, a depleted immune system, something like Siberian ginseng could also be helpful. And the third one that I've added, because it is in abundance this time of year, because it's that autumn in the UK, and that is Nettle Seed. The seeds, you can chew on the seeds. The seeds don't have the sting, but make sure you know how to separate the seeds. But again, don't overdo it, because other than that, you ain't going to be sleeping. If you overdo it, it will keep you awake. So Nettle Seed, very common all around us, is free, is another adaptogen. Now, the other group of herbs are what we would call relaxing nervines. And I feel like a lot of the herbs that most of us know probably fall into this category. I would say this is more from like the minor to mild stress. So things like chamomile. We all know chamomile is very calming, helps you to sleep, but also very good for the gut. We have lemon balm, Melissa officinalis, which is, I call it, you'll always hear me say this, I call it the herb of vim. It uplifts you. If you're feeling it's calming, but it uplifts you at the same time. So if you need a little bit of oomph in your life, lemon balm is great. And the thing is as well with lemon balm, especially fresh, it tastes good. And sometimes when you're going through that, just to sit down and have something that tastes nice, because you know sometimes medicine can taste a bit, that's not lemon balm. So I really like it for that. And one, again, that's really common all over the place is something called Linden. I'll show you the picture. We use the bracts to have a tea that can calm and relax you when you don't have a moment to be able to relax, when you don't have a moment, just the act of sitting down with a nice calming tea is also brilliant for stress. So there's loads of others, but chamomile, lemon balm, and also Linden. And then we have tonic nervines. The reason why I've included this is because when you're going through lots of periods of stress, chronic stress, it really does, like I mentioned in the first video, it really does impact the body. It kind of like zaps the body, like that constant fight or flight takes its toll. And what these tonic nervines, especially when it comes to the nervous system, which is the system that's primarily involved in this case, when it comes to the nervous system, we have to kind of support and protect the nerves. And these are what these tonic nervines do. So you have Avena sativa, which I love, which is what we call a nerve tropho restorative, which is kind of It has that restoring property to a particular tissue or organ. In this case, it's nerves. I'll put the proper definition down below. And it's oats, like green oats. So this is what helps to help heal the nerves that are under a lot of strain as a result of the state of stress that we're in. Another one that we're very familiar with is St. John's wort, Hypericum perforatum. And this is another nervine tropha restorative. But what people might also know is this is the herb that most of us know in terms of depression, and the herb that mainstream medicine also recognizes as good for depression. But it's also the oil. You can actually use it for nerve pain. So it really does. St. John's wort can do a ton of stuff, but it's really great for the nerves as well. So don't play on St. John's wort. I know that people have labeled it the depression herb, but it does so many other things. You've got nerve pain, got a good quality St. John's wort oil. You'll be surprised that thing has some hirwale, which is like strength, some vim, some power. So you're going through the state of stress. You need to help support and heal the nerves that are going to be zapped during this whole process and carry a lot of weight on them during this whole process. So yeah, those are the herbs that there's some others, but those are the herbs that I've chosen to include in this category. The other group of herbs, well, I wouldn't put it under a group, but this group of herbs that I'm going to list now are related to the symptoms that come with stress. Everybody experiences stress in a different way. And there are herbs that can support you depending on what your symptoms are. Some people, when they've gone through chronic stress, they'll find out they're starting to forget stuff. Their memory is not as it should be. And as we explained in the first video, how that can come to be. So herbs for that are Ginko, which increases circulation to the brain and is a very good memory aid. And then the other one is Rosemary, which is more common. That is also a great circulatory. And I understand that people will even used to use it to revise and help them retain information. So those two herbs, if your stress comes across in that way, those are two herbs that might be helpful for you. And then also another one about healing with tissues, especially because sometimes long-term stress can cause significant damage in other areas of body. One of the herbs that I like in terms of healing of tissues in general is a herb called Gotukola, Centella asiatica. So if, for example, I was to make myself a herbal tea, and I might include one of the tonic nervines and maybe an adaptogen, then I might add something that would also help with the healing of the tissues. And Centella asiatica is one of the ones that I do enjoy drinking. That with lemon balm, it's beautiful. I love it. I sometimes drink that. I'm not gonna lie, not even sometimes. I drink that for fun. I like it. I drink it because I like the taste, especially fresh lemon balm because I've got the centella as dried. Yes. Now, some people, when they get stressed, they get heart palpitations. Their heart starts beating really, really fast. If I had someone like that come up to me or was dealing with that issue, there's a herb called Leonoris cardiaca. You see the cardiac bit in it, in the herb, aka Motherwort. And that is a herb that also has nervine properties in it, and is also very good for high heart, like tachycardia as well. So that is a herb that I will use if your stress translates in that way. Now, if your stress, is I can't sleep, another nervine that you can use is Passiflora incarnata, aka passion flower, or Valyrian is the boss. Stinks like nobody's business, and I'm not even trying to be mean. Valyrian root smells, but it's a strong sleep aid. So if because ashwagandha has that, is very calming and can help with sleep. But if you find maybe you don't want to use the ashwagandha, but you want to use something else that might help with your sleep, passion flower is one, and Mr. Valyrian is another one. So these are the herbs that I would use in the case of issues with stress, depending how your stress presents. There's always a herb that will be suited to you. So as much as I've mentioned these herbs, one thing that you've got to understand about herbs is that they don't always just do one thing. One herb that is an adaptogen can also be good for insomnia, could also be good for LDL cholesterol, could also be good for increasing the immune system. And so if you've got the picture of the person and how their stress presents and what else is going on in their life, you could also find a herb that will match that person's experience and their journey back to health. So these are just some of the ideas. The other thing that I'll also take into consideration about stress and somebody's resilience to stress is also check what deficiencies you may have. Do get that to be checked, because sometimes if you're low in vitamins, a lot of us are low in magnesium, or if you're low in vitamin D, because this time of the year when it gets dark really ridiculously early and gets light really late, some of us might, our resilience to stress might be lowered, and vitamin D, you have to check on your vitamin D. So I hope this helps. If you've got any other questions, please do drop them below in the comments, because I do interact, and I'm more than happy to do a video on a couple of things depending on how many people mention these things. But I hope this really helps. But as I always say, get rid of that thing that is stressing you. We're not born to be going through fight and flight 24/7, 365 for the rest of our days. So I hope you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you like what you've heard so far and you want to know more about how you can help yourself with herbs.